All right, greetings everyone. This is the second part of the video for section 2.4. Continuing on from what we were talking about in the last video, we'll now move on to showing you how to do linear regression on either a graphing calculator or an online program. Now this will be a little bit different than previous videos in that I'll be working off of a handout and then using the program, so I won't be using the PowerPoint in this particular video. So let's look at what's going on here. So first of all, here in this table, you'll see they've got some information about the cost of average tuition and fees for full-time students at private four-year colleges for 2 decades, going from 1989 up to 2000, which every time I do this assignment, I think, Cody, it's probably time to update this, being that the newest piece of data you have here is from 20 years ago, but that's a whole nother thing. And notice, just as we've been talking about in several different problems we've done, that first of all, rather than using the years here, they've created a new row in this data. It's the years since a starting year, and so they're using 1989 as their starting year. So that would make 1990 a 1, since that's 1 year later, 1992 a 3, 94 a 5, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then they have the information here about the cost. And so what we can do here is we can actually graph this information and create a scatter plot using it on our graphing calculators. Okay, and I'll show how to do that on a TI-84. If you're using an 89 or Inspire or another calculator, either reach out to me or Tanya for some help with that, and or you can probably find instructions online for how to do this. Okay, so I'm going to go to my calculator. Looks like this. And first thing I'm going to do is put in the data. So in order to do that, I'm going to hit this button that's kind of next to the left arrow here that says Stat. It will take me to a screen that looks like this one. Then I'll go to number 1 up there, which is Edit. And it'll take me to some lists like this, where I'm going to input the data. Now, if your lists already have some data in them, let's say it looks something like this, okay, and one or more of the lists, what you can do is go to the top, press Clear, and then press Enter, and it will get rid of all that data for you. Okay, so now you have, in this case, I have clean or empty data lists. All right, so what I'll do is in the first list, input the information from my first row that I'm using, which is the years since 1989. So 0, 1, 3, 5, 7, and 11. And then the second row, or second column here, I'll put in the information for the cost. So that's 10, 350, 11, 380, 10, 290, 11, 480, 12, 990, and 15, 030. All right, so now we have our 2 lists of information, and we can actually graph this data. So to do that, what we'll do is we'll press the second button, and then notice right above the y equals, there's a button here that says Stat Plot. So we'll hit the y equals, it'll take us to this. Make sure that our marker here is on plot 1, which right now says off. So if I press Enter, take me to a screen like this. I press on. Okay, and then you'll want to check out these other options, which may or may not appear on your calculator depending how old it is. So first of all, you want to make sure that it's on the scatter plot, so the dots here and none of the rest of these. Then also make sure your X list and your Y list say L1 and L2 respectively. Okay, if they don't say that, you're going to get something else. Now that we've done that, we've turned that plot on. If we press the zoom button here right in the middle, and then notice number 9 here says zoom stat, so we can either hit 9 or go down to that. When I do that, now it's created a scatter plot of my data. Okay, so that's kind of nice. All right, the next thing I want to do is to find the equation of the regression line here, or the line of best fit. So in order to do that, a couple of things. Number one, you're going to press second, and then notice right above the 0, there's this catalog button. So make sure you hit that. And then you'll want to go down. I'm looking for something called diagnostic on. So go down until I find that. And I'll tell you, as we're looking for this, this is not something you have to do every time. We just need to do it now at the beginning so that when we go to do this next step, we get all the information we need. All right, there's diagnostic off, there's diagnostic on. Press enter, press it again, so until give me a done, it tells me it's done what I needed to. And the next thing we'll do is go back and press this button stat again. We'll go over to where it says calc. And then notice that number 4 here says lin reg ax plus b. So what that is telling us there is linear regression. It's going to give us into a form ax plus b, which will be the same as our 4x plus b, or sorry, mx plus b. So we'll go down, click on that. Again, make sure that the x list and the y list are L1 and L2. Then we can go to calculate, and it gives us this information. So notice what we're told here in this is that it's given us something in the form y equals ax plus b. Then we're told the values for a and the values for b. So we could, on our own or on our notes, plug those in to figure out the equation of the line. So we'd have y equals the value for a, which is 408.023x, plus the value for b, which is 10,083 points, and of course I ran out of room, just always happens to me, 892. Okay, and then what we can do if we want to is press our y equals button here, go in here, and we can actually input this 408.023. Remember, the x is this button here, plus 10,083.892. Okay, so I've input this equation of my regression line into the graphing apparatus. I'm going to hit graph. Now, see, I can actually see that line of best fit going through the data, and it looks like it is a good line. Okay. All right, so that's finding the linear regression line or line of best fit on the TI-84. Now, one thing I'll tell you is this graphing everything is not something you have to do every time. And in fact, on your homework, I don't think that any of the problems ask you to actually graph. What is most important to know is how to put the data in a list like this, and then how to calculate the equation of the regression line using this lin reg command. Okay, so that's the stuff you'll really need to know for doing your homework and for any other stuff I might ask you to do. In the next video, I'm going to talk about finding this value for R here, or actually what that means and what it tells us. Okay, so that's why we had to turn the diagnostic on, because if you don't have your diagnostic on, it won't give you that value. All right, great. Okay, let's look at finding the equation of a linear regression line using a different program. So now I'm going to go to Desmos. Okay, and recall that the website for this is desmos.com. And we can actually do linear regression on here as well. Now, in order to do that, we first have to put our data into 2 lists like we did before. And we can actually do that in a program outside of Desmos. So I have actually used Excel here, okay, to input the data. You'll see over here, this is the data from the handout. You don't have to do this in Excel. You could do this in Google Sheets or another kind of Excel-like program. Once you have it there, you may also need to label them as X's and Y's, even though, as you guys know, I'm not a big fan of X's and Y's, but we can use it. And then we can copy that, so I just use Control-C. And then go back to Desmos. Okay, and then here in this first line, if I paste that, notice what it's done over here on the right-hand side or in the graph is it's actually created the scatter plot for me, which is really nice using this data. And then I can also make Desmos calculate the equation of the linear regression line for me. So the way I do that is I'll hit Y, and then I'm going to have to hit the sub button and just, let's see, does it have it on here? Do not see it on here. So to do that on my keyboard, I hit Shift and then the number right next to, or the key right next to it, 0 on a full keyboard. I can put in a 1 there. And then I put equals M, I do X sub 1. So using the same thing there, plus B. And of course I screwed this up somehow, which of course would happen right during the video. Oh, sorry. The other problem is we don't use an equal to here. We use the kind of tilde, which you can get by doing Shift and the button right next to the 1 on a keyboard. So now it's giving us the regression line. So it's that Y kind of tilde looking thing, M X sub 1 plus B. And notice here it's told us what the values for M and B are, and they've also given us the R value. Okay. All right. If you have any questions on how to do that on the calculator or how to do it on your calculator or need further clarification how to do this on Desmos, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Okay. Thank you for watching.